Ladies and gentlemen, children all around the world, welcome to another episode of East Meets West, ladies and gentlemen. And yes, this is a special edition of the Pistons post game show. Where we just slaughtered the Milwaukee Bucks, even though I know it's the preseason, whatever. I'm excited. I'm
Pistons,
overjoyed. I'm a Pistons
Pistons
fan, so
victory,
yeah.
Pistons victory post game show. All right, let's be exact there. Yeah, man.
Yeah, we got Scout Conrado here. So what's your observations just from just a overall just breakdown, put into a small little sample size before we jump in and break it down all the way.
It was a preseason game.
Okay, okay, well let's jump in then. So how you feel
Let's
about what
jump
you
in.
seen? How you feel about what you seen from Jaden Ivey then? How you feeling about that? Because I'm overjoyed.
Do you want to go first then? Why don't you tell me why you're overjoyed?
I'm overjoyed because we don't have someone in here that's like withholding him from being as great as he can be. You know what I mean? From having the confidence. We seen the confidence. Like his
Right.
confidence today was better than probably anytime I've seen last year outside of when Cade got hurt. And even then, you know what I mean? He wasn't playing like he had a monkey on his back. Like, oh, if I make a mistake, I might get looked at a certain way or I might get told something a certain way. He was just looking like, I got this. You know what I mean? And that's how he played. Like we seen it from the first shot. Like he made that first three. He went on to make a couple, well, three more before well, hell, did he miss a three tonight? I don't think he did.
No.
So you can say his shot selection was turned up, which is something that you cited in many of our pods that we've done covering the Pistons. And his change of speed is crazy to me. Like
It is.
um I know it's best in transition, but just his ability to, especially seeing him give and go. You know what I mean? Like I'm like, okay, so you're adding that dynamic, or is it JB Bickerstaff that's added that? You know what I mean?
And
So
to be clear, just
yeah,
real quick, they did that a lot.
yes,
That was basically
yes, they
like his
did.
bread and butter play today.
Yeah, it
Right. But okay,
was.
continue.
I mean, rightfully so, rightfully so.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that I don't know. I'm excited to see what else comes from him. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
just the first. This is a preseason game, like you said. It's the preseason, but I'm very excited with what I've seen from him. So I'm really looking forward to this season from him, for sure.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Excellent.
yeah.
And yeah, I mean, like, for those who maybe didn't like watch the entire game live, in 22 minutes, Ivy had 22 points,
Yep.
right? Finishes night, 22 points on 6 of 8 shooting. Why only
Mm-hmm.
6 of 8 shooting? Because 3 of 3 from the 3-point land, right?
Four.
And what's up?
4-4. You got the
It says
you got the
3 of
box score
3.
right there. Oh, it says 3-3. Okay.
I'm just looking at this box. I don't know. Maybe he took a long 2. I don't know. And then
Yeah.
7 of 9 from the free throw line.
Okay. Yeah, they
Um,
do. They do adjustments after the game too.
yeah, I mean, definitely he had probably the most highlight worthy plays.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll get down into like, some of the other Pistons, some of the other players, but I mean, I think, for the most part, like the broadcast definitely, he's the guy that gets like the replays going into a timeout or going into commercial. He's the one that gets like the music put in the background to like a
Right.
slow-mo, right, replay. But let me ask you something, not to
Okay.
like be like a Debbie Downer,
Uh-oh.
or honestly, let me make it male, a Danny Downer,
Danny
like
Downer.
given that he is, and again, right, like
Mhm.
there's only so much well, let's acknowledge there's only so much we can really take away from what we've seen from really both Ivy, all the players, but let's just say Ivy now since we're talking about him. There's
Right.
only so much we can really gauge from the last 2 years, given, as the broadcast said, right, this is his third coach in 3 years, right? So he had a different coach his first 2 years.
Yep.
Obviously, he said in and out of the lineup. And then when he was in the lineup, just a carousel of supporting cast around him, right? Players in and out. Some guys he's probably never met. I bet you if you ask him to name all his teammates, he can't do it. I bet you he can't. That's not
I
even because
mean,
like he's I bet you he can't. I bet you he's gonna forget like a bunch of those 10 days.
His
Right?
teammates right now?
No, no, like now he can't.
Oh,
I'm
from the
saying like the
past?
guy in the first 2 years. I bet you
Oh,
he
okay.
can't. I bet you he'll forget. Like
Hell,
you know what I'm saying?
I can't remember.
But point being,
Yeah.
all I'm saying is, I think it's reasonable for all the returning players that there should be things like maybe you want to see, either you
Yeah.
expect to see or you want to see.
Right.
So, given that it's his third year, let me ask you:
Mhm.
he shot the ball well tonight. No, that's not the question. That I am in agreement.
Certain about. Right. Yeah.
But did he actually show you anything new, like anything that you haven't seen before? Did he show you a new element to his game?
Um,
And I'm not trying to lead you. I actually want to know. I want your impression.
I will say his confidence, honestly. Like I haven't seen his confidence at this level since Dwayne Casey. You know what I mean? And even then, he was rough around the edges. He was learning the game. I see him now looking like, okay, I've had the experience. I've also had the experience of being in the doghouse. Um, and who knows what the parameters were about that situation. You know what I mean? Like who knows how he got there? Like it might have been a situation like you know, I won't go so deep into football, but well, hell, like
Go for it.
Javon Baker and on the New England Patriots, where he's not playing type of deal. You know what I mean? Like he was in the
Mhm.
doghouse. Ivy was in the doghouse because he went from really not getting any minutes early, and then Monty started giving him minutes. So right now, I'm seeing confidence, and it's
Okay.
showing confidence and experience. Like that's what I seen from Ivy. You know what I mean? And it's glaring. It's not to me. It's not similar to something from the past, and I've long said that we couldn't really gauge what the Pistons were after last season because we had 31 players on the roster. From day one to day 82, or game one to game 82.
Mhm.
Um, and whether they were traded, cut, whatever, we still had 31 players. We had a whole bench mob getting subbed in all at the same time. So there was no true like rotation. There was no true rhythm. There was no true identity. We were just
Right.
yeah, just go out there and play basketball team. So Ivy, like you mentioned, having teammates from the past that he might not know the names of, but here we are now. He did have the opportunity to sit there and watch everybody. You know what I mean? So
Right.
that's added to the experience. He had the ability to go be in the doghouse, or let's still go with Casey. He had the ability to when K went down, he took the reins. You know what I mean? So he had the ability to be the guy, the initiator, and then he had to experience. Okay, Cade's out here. I'm secondary to him because he's the number one pick, and I got to figure out how to get in where I fit in alongside him. We got to figure out how to make this work. So they had that slightly last year, not really, but now we get to see him with all of that experience up under him because experience is more, I mean, it's better than anything. You know what I mean? And I seen it today, and I hope it continues going forward for sure.
Okay. Okay.
I can see that happening.
Okay. I could buy that. I could buy
Yeah.
that. I guess for me, the thing is well, first off the bat, like the
Mhm.
starting lineup today, that was more due to the fact that Tobias Harris was out. I believe I think he was sick. I think.
Okay.
Right, because the starting lineup was 1 through 5:
Mhm.
Cade, Ivy, Tim Hardaway Jr.,
Oh,
Fontecchio,
we
and Jalen Duren. We'll
right.
get into why that's never going to happen. Like
No, it's not.
that's not a viable lineup. I
No,
don't even think that's like a rotational lineup. But let's
no.
not get away from the
Where's
thing.
the defense other than
Basically,
Duran?
well, yeah. Um,
And K, well,
as
K
it
showed up on
pertains to
defense.
Jaden Ivey,
Hmm.
I think probably one of the biggest things, right? We
Yeah.
talked about this. One of the biggest things that they need to address
Mm,
in training camp,
mm.
by address meaning trying to get more clarity, trying to provide an answer, is a Cade and Ivy backcourt viable? And I mean like
Um,
a long-term viable thing. And what I'm trying to say is
yeah.
I don't think you got that answer today, which is fine.
No, you didn't.
Which is fine. You can't like have everything if like answered and figured out after like preseason game one. What I'm saying is, um, For example, I was actually like when I was watching the game, I was thinking of the Indiana Pacers, right? Your
You're right.
division rival. Tyrese Halliburton and Andrew Nemhard are both point guards.
Right.
You could, right? I mean, Nemhard technically is like, in name, he's the starting shooting guard, but like the crux, like he actually is a point guard. And the
Right.
dual point guard look can work because again, it's what we were saying in our training camp episode
Mm.
was even if you feel comfortable with both of them being on ball, is can you actually still be impactful off ball?
Right.
I wanted to see some of that tonight from Ivy. And I didn't see anything really that made me
Okay.
believe. Yeah, I'm sorry to be blunt. Like, even the give and goes, which were effective,
Yeah.
they're very predictable, right? As
They
soon as
are.
he gives, right, he's gonna like cut to the corner or to the wing, and then he just stays there, right?
Mm.
Whereas if you look at Cade or even Ron Holland, because let's not use shooting as an excuse, say like, oh well, see because like, he's a better shooter or he's not as good of a shooter, blah blah blah. So you can't do this kind of action. I mean,
Right.
until further notice, Ron can't really shoot for shit. That doesn't stop him, right,
Yeah.
from creating
Yeah.
looks for himself or others. That's not
Right.
to say that you need to keep running around, like aimlessly, but that's the thing, right? He's not showing that because he's not really putting himself in position to create a secondary action where he could actually be the guy to get the ball back, whether to set up for others or anything,
Yeah.
like, and I don't want to be like so negative, like I said, but it really, like, the more I just watched him, the more I watched it, like I said, it becomes very predictable, right? If it's a give and go, right, like he's getting a screen at the nail.
Mhm.
I understood that he drew, well, when all is said and done, so 9 free throws, that's 4 shot attempts, roughly, right? Like, okay, so he drew like free throws on 4 shot attempts. It's great. But I mean,
Right.
like, not to disparage the competition, but I mean, like, what does it say though that like Pezenix, like these backup Bucks, were just
Right.
sitting in the paint? You see what I'm saying? Like they
Yeah.
know what he's gonna do, and they're okay with it because again, right, the pass is only gonna come if he's been stopped or
Right.
when he goes baseline. If he's coming from the corner,
Mhm.
right, what does he do? The same thing. They sit, they camp out, right? A low drop, and then if they get a proper contest on him, right? Like there's no whistles coming, he throws to the strong side corner.
Right.
The man never comes in to help. These are the things that I'm saying, right? Like
Mhm.
I want, and again, I'm not trying to say like, oh my God, he can't do it. Again, I'm
Yeah.
open-minded. What I'm saying is if you just look at your own teammates, right? And
Mhm.
what they're doing, because you even like tweeted ball movement, right? Like
Yeah.
he has to be a part of that, right?
Yeah.
Like just because, like,
He had a couple where he was.
okay. No, I'm not. Again, I'm not saying, and because I want to make it clear, I'm not saying he's selfish.
Yeah.
Far from it,
I
right?
mean,
But like I said, and again, it's preseason. Some actions are just vanilla, right? You're not gonna
Yeah.
like run anything like too complex. That's fine. But what I'm saying is, like, there seems to be a lack of, for lack of a better word, like vision. Like he's not seeing the plays that could potentially develop. He's just seeing like, am I open or not?
right.
And that is, to me, is not sustainable.
What
Unless, because
if
if
okay.
you were a traditional shooting guard,
Mhm.
like purely catch and shoot, that's the thing, right? Where you do not, your game is not dependent on being on ball and you're like a knockdown shooter. That's something different.
Right.
In theory, we're talking about Malik Beasley or THJ, but we're not. That's the thing. Because I'm sorry, I'm not gonna like. I believe he can improve on his shooting, but
Mhm.
there's no way he can exist exclusively off ball. And frankly, that would be, you know, um, minimizing, not making the most of what he does best.
Hmm. I what if it's a matter of he's playing himself into a starter's role and he wants to show, you know what I mean? Because that's what this could be too. It could be, hey, this is how valuable I am, or this is what I can
See, and
do
that's the
if
thing.
you put me within this rotation, you focus on me on the offense and the play sets. Because I think that's got something to do with it too, especially coming from last year. You know what I mean? Like it
No,
seems like Monty almost kind of pushed him out of. Oh well, he's off the bench, so
right.
figure him out. Whereas Ivy is actually a capable starter. You know?
And I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
I'm with you. And that's what I'm saying. There, for me personally, if I'm on JB's staff, there are certain things I want to see from him that warrants, that proves to me that because let's be real. Okay. Let's back up. We know Cade's in. Cade's
Right.
locked in and he's
Yeah.
running point. Right. And in my
Yeah.
opinion, rightfully so. What I'm saying though is prove to me then that you actually are the best choice at the 2. Because to me, what I see tonight, and again, only one game, but it's a lot of what I've seen in the first 2 years, which is then if we know Cade's the starter, and again, everything I'm saying is based on the fact that what is set in stone.
What's
Cade
concrete?
is the
Yeah.
starter. Cade is
Right.
the starter, right?
Yeah.
Therefore, to me, right now, the best thing Ivy does is create paint touches and looks at the rim and draw fouls.
Right.
It's a lot easier to do that if you're not playing next to Cade. Look at
Yeah.
what he creates for himself. Okay, let's forget about the defensive woes, but right when you have Malik Beasley, when he's flanked by Malik Beasley and THJ,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
the C
I
parts.
mean,
You know what I'm saying?
but is that only on him to adjust? You know what I mean? Whereas you know what I said last time in the last episode, I said Cade should run the 3 and Ivy should run the 1. And maybe they should put Cade in the kind of action because Cade is actually pretty good at catch and shoot Cade. And he becomes another part of, he becomes another person that's flanking him as opposed to, oh, I'm going to facilitate, where it's just like set in stone. Cade's facilitating. So when you get the ball, attack. You know what I mean? What if
No,
that's
I mean
just,
technically, okay. Again, right?
yeah,
It's not just semantics. I mean, realistically, right? To close out the first half, they had a lineup of, if I recall correctly, Ivy. Was it Beasley? Ivy, Beasley,
mhm.
Ron. Yeah, Ivy, Beasley, Ron, Cade. So technically, Cade was a 4. I mean, you could actually,
Yeah, size
well,
wise,
actually, no.
wise.
Flip it. Cade was the 3. Ron was the 4. Ron was the 4, right?
Oh,
And then I believe it was Stewart at the 5,
okay.
right?
Yeah.
Works. There you go, right? I mean, still, who was the primary or the dominant ball handler and facilitator? It's still Cade. So
Right.
fine, you want to say you move him to the 3, he's still, it's the same thing like I saw with Luca, right? But
Yeah.
in that, again, I get it. Okay, like, hey, you want to balance the floor. He feels good. He made a couple shots, right? He was knocking down his threes.
Right.
I get it. I'm all for it. But what I'm saying is, just if you rewatch that first half and that the closing minutes of the first quarter, look at the contrast in off-ball movement between Ivy and Ron. It's like night and day. It's a stark contrast,
Right.
right? If you're telling me, if we can all agree Ron Holland does not have a reliable jump shot and teams do not respect him, right? They'll
Yeah.
sag off. How does he keep creating looks for himself at the rim? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it's not just about hey, look, a screen's coming. cut or dive to the rim. Okay, there was that play, right? That beautiful play where Cade was at like the top of the key, and then eventually you see like Stewart, like Beef Stew, cutting down the lane, and then he hits, I believe, Ron in the corner, and then
Mhm.
Ron swings it over to, I think, Beasley. Is it Beasley? They knock down a three,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Beef Stew understood, right? If he delays his cut, right, it's going to force the defense to stay, right?
Mhm.
Um, like just above the free throw line, which gives Cade the space, right, to to survey and find out like right where the pass could be. Once he hits Beef Stew, right, because it's delayed, now he knows, right, his cut can actually become a screen for the strong side corner. That is why Ron is so wide open,
Right.
where he basically could have cut for a floater, or which he did, he
Right.
identified his teammate. That's what I'm saying. These are the things that, like, I don't think it's unreasonable for me to ask for Ivy as a point guard to start
Yes.
looking at the game in this manner. Because
Yes.
if he does, with his athleticism and his ability, like you said, right,
Oh, we.
his like he is an instant paint touch.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It has to materialize into something. I mean, unless he gets like this favorable whistle, then cool,
Okay.
But
So I
like,
gotta. Oh, okay. Go. No, go ahead, because I got a flip question.
let's say it's not Pizzenix. Let's just stay like in the freaking division. Let's say it's like, I don't know, Miles Turner. You know, like, do you think just running into Miles Turner is a sustainable formula
No.
for winning?
No.
That's what I'm saying. That's
No.
basically what he did at times, which I respect it, right? You believe that you got them off balance, go for it, or just say test the refs, right? See what
Right.
it's just. I think he can do a lot more. That's where I'm coming from. It's not that I think little of him. It's I think highly of him, and I think he's not maximizing it. And it's hard for me to say like, oh, well, make no mistake. I'm sure JB is going to sit down with the coaching staff. They're not incompetent. It's just if I see his other teammates doing what I'm looking for him to do, then that means like it's more on him. The onus is on him. To
Right.
find a way for this to become second nature, comfortable, right?
Right.
Almost instinctive. So yeah,
Well, okay. So I got a flip question.
let's go.
What if Jay Ivy was the number 1 pick instead of Cade, and Cade was the number 5 pick in Ivy's year instead of Ivy? Would this team be more curated around Ivy as opposed to Cade, or would it still have been Cade? Like you keep their collegiate careers the same and whatnot, and but you switch the draft years.
Well,
Does that mean that
not to
we
get off
curate the
subject,
team around Ivy more? Which
right?
is what I'm kind of alluding to. Like maybe it's that Cade should kind of is gonna take away from his game a little bit to have to, on some plays step out and be a catch and shooter, or he be the secondary ball handler. Let Ivy be the initiator. Let Cade be that secondary. And then in the midst of that, let Ivy develop like what you're saying. Put Ivy at the point guard, which is something I've also said and I agree with, and let him develop those skills because he's not going to get them if he's not pushing point. He's not. He's just going to attack.
I mean, but that's the thing. Don't you want him attacking?
Yes, I do.
Right.
I mean,
Like,
but if he
as
can
a
create,
Warrior fan, it's similar to when we had discussions about like, well, are you really maximizing Jordan Poole's skill set if he's always playing off ball of Steph? Which is
I mean,
why
I
they were saying
mean,
like it made more. No, it's the same thing, right? Poole's best ability is to attack the rim. Gets to the free throw line a lot. You do that
mm,
less when you're exclusively off ball. He's not Klay Thompson,
he,
but
he's
not
not Ivy
to
to the rim. He's not
no, that's what
Ivy
I'm
to the
saying.
rim
No,
either.
no, that's what I'm saying. You could both call yourself shooting guards, two different types. It's the same thing with Ivy and Cade. You can call yourself point guards, but you don't play the position the same way.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. I'm trying to, for me, it's just determining what's the best way to maximize this roster. And unless, like, that's my whole going back to it, I'm like a broken record, unless he proves to me that he is, because Cade, in my opinion, he can function exclusively off ball if you want to. It's not making use of
Yeah.
his, but he can. You even said it yourself in your tweets. Hey, look, catch and shoot Cade.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's
I've
the
been
thing.
calling him out for a whole year and a half
Yeah.
on his catch and
So
shoot
like,
ability. Because people
if
just want
he
him
isn't,
on ball. You know what I mean?
if
Like,
he's not, then there's no point. To me, that there's no point. If he cannot function, if he's not as effective off ball, then it doesn't make sense for him to be running at the 2. I'd rather just have an actual shooting guard with more length, because we are kind of conceding that we could have better defense, right? You know what I'm saying, like,
yeah,
you're making a
yeah.
concession in order to put him in the starting lineup.
I actually thought he moved
Um,
his feet well today.
yeah, no, I'm not saying like he's in mud,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, but throughout the game, I was kind of like looking at Twitter, seeing some like people like, oh, this is my guess of like the starting lineup, on opening day.
Mm.
Not to be a jackass, I think a lot of you are wrong. You know what I'm saying?
What'd they say?
The one that I saw that kind of made me chuckle. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to pick on anyone. It was like, oh, yeah, this is definitely not going to happen. Like Ivy, Cade, and Beasley. No, there's no way.
And with who? With who else? Tobias and Duran?
Yeah, I think something like that.
Why
Tobias
not?
and Duran definitely are locks. You know
Why
what I'm
not
saying?
too much of a defensive liability?
Oh,
All
absolutely.
over the place.
Absolutely.
Besides
Absolutely.
Beasley. I
And
mean,
we're going to get
Cade
into that
showed
too.
flashes on defense today.
Yeah. Who?
Cade.
Oh, yeah. No, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. But, yeah. So, but going back to I think they're actually, in this case, it's hard to say. I don't want to
Yeah. You supposed to be hyped. It's game 1.
no. I'm just saying, like, I like the question you asked. Like, if Ivy was the number 1 pick, you reversed it.
And Cade was the number 5.
Like, it's a
Then we would
similar
have.
question I always ask. If Harden had got drafted 1 year ahead of Westbrook instead of 1 year after, would they have really moved forward with Westbrook and KD instead of Harden? And you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, no, I mean that's the same.
seniority.
That's the same
No, I
thing.
think there is something to that. Now, having said that, I feel like both of them have put together a body of work.
Yeah, because I
kind of
suggest. I feel like losing Ivy, especially if we had him coming off the bench, would be James Harden-esque. If he went to a team that needed him like that, like he would immediately make for one, he'd have the hugest brick on his shoulder. Forget a chip, it'd be a brick. It'd be like, oh damn, y'all traded me. Especially with the ties to Detroit. I'm drinking out of a Lions cup. His family been here in so many different iterations, from the Shock to the Lions, and it's just like, you know what I mean? It's just like
yeah.
it would be a hit, and he would go somewhere else. He would be another version of himself that we want. And then at least for Detroit fans, we have this knack for, we trade somebody and they become nice. We're paying attention to Killian Hayes right now in Brooklyn, if he's even still on the roster. I'm sure he's on the training camp roster.
Yeah.
We seen what happened with Spencer Dinwiddie, Chris Middleton. You know what I mean? Players of that ilk. And at least me as a Pistons fan, I don't want to do that no more. Especially not with somebody that I know is more capable of a higher. Well, I don't know where I could put him with Middleton, but I would say I think he has a higher ceiling than Middleton and Jay Ivey. I think he has a higher ceiling than that. I don't want to trade him. You know what I mean? Like, I want to figure it out. And if that is throwing him to the wolves at the point guard position and figuring it out from there, I'm willing to do it. I mean, we won't lose 28 games straight again doing it. You know what I mean? Like, that won't happen. But
You're deep enough. Well, you're relatively deeper where that should not
man,
happen. Right.
this team is deep. We didn't even get
So, yeah.
Tobias. We didn't get Bobby Clintman. Shout out to
Yeah.
Dennis Jenkins for getting some playing time. I was happy about that.
Yeah.
Sasser really showed up. Like, we're looking pretty good, man. But
Yep.
not to harp on Ivy, but let's move on to Ryan Holland because I know you love Ryan Holland. So man, go. No, I'm gonna let you go in on Ryan Holland right now. You go in on Ryan Holland about your observations from this game,
I know it
and
seems
let us all
unfair
know.
that I'm so critical of Ivy, but just before we are moving on. All I'm saying is whether it's fair or not, he is a third year player, whereas Ron is a rookie.
Yeah,
The expectations are different. You know, again,
yeah.
whether that's fair or not.
I mean, no
But
comparison, no comparison. Just from
yeah,
today's game.
no. But even again, like from the beginning, if Ivy had gone like 0 of 3 from 3, sure, it's discouraging. It would be disappointing, but I don't really care. To me, what I always tell myself in preseason is I want to see the player's shot profile, you know, or the team shot profile. What are the types of looks that you're generating, you know,
Mm,
especially and for what players, So for example, and eventually this is going to get to Ron. What I'm saying is, if all the teams know, right, that like Beasley and THJ, they're there to shoot threes, right, and yet you constantly create open threes for them. It's process over results. That means you're doing something right. You get what I'm saying?
mm,
So that's the same thing with like, today. Like even if like Ivy wasn't a pretty 20 plus points, right?
mm,
Like same thing. I still would say this is good. Look at that. The way a manner in which he's attacking the lane, generating, like I said, paint touches, getting free throws. So, that to me is what's most important. So it's the same thing for Ron, you know, and that's why like I really liked it, because this is a guy, like, look at the way even when he did attempt, like, he seldomly did, and he got shy about it too, right? He seldomly attempted 3-pointers. There were
mm.
times where like, he should have just taken the open three, but he second guessed himself and then ended up passing it. And you're throwing a grenade, you're throwing a grenade to like, your teammates, right? They got to hoist it up to
Yeah.
avoid the 24-second violation. But what I'm saying is, when he was assertive, in the absence of a jumper, right? Always finding, right? Always getting that open runner in the lane, always getting like that up and under. What I'm saying is, offensively, for his own individual scoring offense, he just seems to find like he's putting himself in position before he gets the ball where he's going to create that look. That is what I like to see. Because again, right? Maybe in year 2, year 3, he'll be a little bit more on ball. He'll have more facilitating duties, but I wouldn't expect that in his rookie year. I don't think JB would want to put that responsibility on him. So that's what I'm saying, right? Find ways, even though you have a great handle, you have good vision, right? How to do it in a scaled back manner. Tonight, to me, that's what he did, you know?
Uh, yeah,
Um,
because I was kind of critical. It's crazy. Like you're going on Ivy, and I'm ready to go in on Holland a little bit
Go for it.
because
Yeah, go for it.
I mean not heavy, but just early on, like some of his going to the hole shots reminded me of summer league. Um, I mean, I'm not going to speak to his defense or nothing like that, but just him having looks at the basket, it was like, what are you doing? And then he slowed down immediately. He thought twice about it. He started sitting out on the wings, letting the ball get into somebody else's hands, and then going from there, as opposed to trying to create his own. And I think that's the difference. Like if I bring Ivy back into it, that's the difference with him and Ivy. Like Ivy is attack, attack, attack. Right now, Holland is probably. I mean, we don't know because he's still a rookie, but um, and then just to touch on Ivy again, like to go through a season where I don't know. I think I said enough about Ivy. Like it's hard to compare them because to go from Dwayne Casey, Cade's out, you running the show, and it's nothing. It's no problem. You and Duran have like this crazy chemistry. Then Cade comes back. You gotta take a step back. Then on top of that, you got Monty Williams here, and he's like, you got to take 3 steps back. Like, I'm not mad at Ivy, and I think we have the perfect coach because he allowed Ivy to get off, he allowed Holland to get off, and he allowed them to kind of play freely. You know what I mean? Whereas last season, if this was Monty Williams, Holland
Mhm.
doing what he did, doing the and then going up and then getting blocked, especially the one where he could have just went straight up. Like Monty would have probably pulled him or said something or put him in a doghouse
I
type of
don't agree
situation. I mean, that's just. I mean, just judging from what Monty did to Ivy, I think he would have. I do
because here's the
because
difference.
that's just what he did. That's what he did to Ivy. Like he killed his confidence. You can, man. I don't know. I'm gonna defend Ivy tooth and nail because I seen Ivy with Casey. I seen Ivy with Monty, and I see Ivy now. This dude is a totally different dude. It's like if Dwayne Casey took steroids, gave him some steroids, and was like, "Let's go." I mean, for real, because Ivy last year was a totally different player. It was like
I
somebody
mean,
in the doghouse. It's like they thought he was damn. What's his name? That Chris Paul big made that deal on Phoenix.
Cameron Payne.
Campaign. Yeah. It's like Campaign was in doghouses, and then he got to Chris Paul, and it was like all of a sudden
Yeah.
he's flourishing. You know what I mean? So it's just I don't know. And maybe it's because I'm an Ivy fan,
Which is good. It should
yeah.
be.
I just think
But
it was just unfair.
Don't get it twisted.
Treatment.
My criticism isn't to disparage him or to belittle him, right? I am a problem
It's gonna
solver.
get him traded.
No, I'm a problem solver. And if I'm thinking this, I give JB Big, like he's smart. I would like to think he's a smarter coach than me. It's all about how to maximize each of these players
Right.
so that they could be the best version of themselves and the best team. You see what I'm saying?
But Ivy's doing it. Seemed like Ivy is doing his thing in that case. His own thing.
And that's the thing.
Somewhat.
Don't take it negatively. Just because I say he is, but he shouldn't be a starter, doesn't mean he's not playing well.
Right. But then, okay.
I mean,
so
I
who
could
does he
even
come off the
going back
bench
to the
with?
OKC days. I would say, right, it was the right decision to have Harden come off the bench for that iteration of the team. Thabo Cephalosha at the starting shooting guard to provide wing defense was what they needed. It's the same thing. That doesn't mean he's inferior. It just might make the team better. And for Ron, like today, he literally played offensively and defensively, the 2, 3, and the 4. And he did it well. Definitely defensively, at least. Which is why I don't think he'll get more leeway. Because, he is already a significantly better defender than probably everyone.
He's bigger and longer too, isn't he?
What's up?
He's bigger and longer than Ivy.
Yeah.
Like
Ivy. I'm not saying let's compare. Well, unless you're saying the debate is should one of them start over the other. But if it's not,
I mean, for me, what Holland showed me, he should start.
Oh, I agree. Especially at the very least, if Asar is going to miss time to start the season, then yes.
So
the one thing I agree with all Pistons fans is that I think what we think in theory will become a reality. That Ron plus Asar will be like arguably the most devastating wing defending combination.
That's gonna be like
I think that actually has a good chance of manifesting.
Yeah, it's gonna be like Artest and Shane Battier. And there's no Kobe in this league, so good luck. You know what I mean?
Ant is the next Jordan, right? So
I mean, we'll see. He wants to. That's a good bar for him to set for himself.
But yeah. I mean, and again, like I said, I don't want to make it seem like a direct comparison because again, for the time being, to me, I project them as like they're not the same position. You could start Ron at the 2. Let's say
you said the 4.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Playing the 4,
he will see minutes.
Yeah.
He will. The fact that they did it already, you could say it's experimenting, but they'll feel comfortable with him, right? It's like, dude,
small ball league.
You know me. Yeah, exactly. You know me. Like, height isn't the biggest thing, like the biggest determining factor for me. Of course, right?
No,
you want guys to be like bigger, right? But I mean, to me, length is more important.
Yeah, length.
So even if he's giving up 3-4 inches, he's not conceding much length. He's still containing you, Yeah. So, hey, right. But again, and that's actually why I'm going back to it. Well, any more thoughts on Ron? I mean, I think it was a
No,
successful
I
debut, all
loved
things
what I seen
considered.
from Ryan today. Like,
I
he
do think
was
though,
crazy on defense. Like, for him to be able to get into people with his length and do it without, I mean, he got a few fouls, but at the same time to still continue doing it, not lose confidence and keep on irritating, ball handlers.
yeah,
I love what I seen from him, and I think that we need that going forward, because overall, what I feel like I seen today is that we don't like guarding a three. So we need to definitely like guard on ball better. We need to try to kill plays if we're gonna just,
yeah,
once the ball come back out to the 3 point line, we're just walking and looking at it. You know what I mean? Like, we can't do that. So we gotta kill plays, or we have to just like irritate the ball handlers,
yeah.
like the really good ball handlers that he will probably end up getting matched up with. Because I doubt they. I mean, if you had the option to put Cade or Beasley, I mean, it probably would be Beasley, but Cade, Beasley, or Holland on like Ja Morant, roll the dice after 30 games. Who you putting on them?
Wait, who are my options?
Ron Holland, Michael Beasley, or Cade Cunningham?
You mean Malik Beasley?
Yeah, Malik Beasley.
Okay,
I'm talking about Michael
definitely.
Beasley.
Well,
See,
Ron.
see, see what
If
I
we're
mean?
like, you're telling me that like he's got his feet wet. You're saying 30 games into the season.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Yep.
he
Yeah.
moves better laterally than
Yeah.
Cade. I like it. Cade he could D up, make no mistake. But I mean,
Yeah.
if I'm trying to pick my best option, are you serious? I
Yeah.
don't think I'll ever pick Malik Beasley for any defensive purposes.
Yeah.
But he tried. He did.
Yeah.
But that's what we said during the summer. Like you could read that, you could interpret this as a good thing or a bad thing. I don't think Malik Beasley is a bad defender because of a lack of effort. He tries. He just
Yeah.
doesn't have a single defensive instinct in him. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like he'll be moving and he just kind of gets lost,
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
mean, hey,
After a few
like,
dribbles,
right. It's not a
he had a f-
participation trophy, but
he had a few good
like
looks today, though. A few.
well, on defense.
Yeah. Yeah. I
No, he did.
mean,
He
yeah.
did. He got his hands in the passing lanes.
Yeah.
I don't know if he intended to, but he did. You know
You're
what I'm
right. Damn.
saying? No. But that's why actually it was. I can understand why JB went with the starting lineup that he went with. You know, Tobias is gone. You want to try to provide a little bit more, 3 point shooting
Yeah.
in the lineup, since you have I mean, let's just say right now we're not relying on Ivy's three, right? Okay,
Yeah.
let's just put it that way, right? So
Ooh-wee.
obviously Duran is supposed to be like the rim finisher. You know what I'm saying? Like he's
Yeah.
not the stretch five. So that's what I'm saying. Okay, you want some shooting from the four, so you put in Fontecchio. I understand, but defensively, okay, like you guys make the first, right? The Pistons make the first three of the game, right? The Bucks
Yeah.
proceed to go on a 20-0 run.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
Now, did I think it would be that bad? No, but I knew that specific starting lineup would struggle. Why? Right? This is where Tobias, well, why I believe this entire starting unit will be changed by opening day. Basically at the 2, 3, 4. Well, no. Tobias is the 4, right?
Mhm.
Which is, even if we believe he's a good rim protector, and we'll get to that, right? I still think the defense is at its best when your 4 serves as either a weak side like defender,
Mhm.
right? Like an on-call weak
Right.
side defender, or as like some kind of roamer, right? There's no way Fontecchio can do that in extended minutes. There's no way THJ or Beasley will be doing that. And that's what I'm
It'll be
saying,
all
right?
star. Yeah.
What's that? Oh,
It'll be all
exactly. See,
star.
that's what I'm saying, right? Going
Mhm.
from, those guys to Asar and Tobias, it's night and day,
Yeah.
right? And it's not like I'm saying your wing defenders, or your point of attack are Swiss cheese or anything. No, right? But even if you can't shadow your guy, right? Those guys at the most have to be able to like jam them at the hip, right? And then basically funnel them into the second line to then have, right, your rim protector camped out waiting.
Okay.
If you don't have one or the other, that all goes to, it all goes to shit. And that's what
Yeah.
happened, right?
Right.
So sure enough, yes, everybody pointed out, wow, look at that. We put in Ron Holland. We put in beef stew. Everything changed. Well, yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
it
because you
did.
put in defense and toughness.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but you had a backline, right? You actually had a semblance of a backline D.
Right.
So that's what I'm saying, right? It's not like I'm down on any of those guys, but that's why, like, I would have to believe the lineup will look a lot different, on starting, on opening day. But definitely, yeah, when Asar comes in. See, when Asar comes back, that's when it's going to get interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I see him starting. Or I
I think
mean,
he should.
because just going where my mind has gone from this conversation, if Ivy goes to the bench, that means Holland or Asar have to come off the bench, or we don't have perimeter defense off the bench. We're gonna
Again,
tank. We're gonna be
I'm going to go with
strictly
seniority.
offense.
I'm going to go with
And I mean,
seniority. I think if Asar is back and
yeah,
like fairly healthy,
then
he
he's
starts over
starting.
Ron.
Right. So it's gonna be Ivy, Holland, Stu. I'm assuming. You know what I mean?
Uh,
Ivy,
oh yeah,
Holland, Stu. I don't know if THJ is going to work himself out of that. He won't be starting, I don't think. Or maybe he will, and it'll be between him and Malik Beasley. But that, I guess, that's a shooter that you can flank with that lineup. Then what? Fontecchio? Is Fontecchio starting when Tobias comes back, or is he off the bench too?
I think he's off the bench.
So that means Ivy, Holland, Stu, Fontecchio, Stu. Oh no, I said Stewart. Or in between
So,
Malik Beasley and THJ, whoever,
oh wait,
whichever
you're
of
saying
them
when
doesn't
Asar
start.
comes back,
Yeah,
Cade, Ivy,
I
well,
mean, but
technically then
if Ivy is coming off the bench,
Asar, Duren.
yeah, if
Yeah.
Ivy's coming off the bench though,
If Ivy's well, there you go. That is interesting because you know me, I love defense,
right,
but then there's not
and
enough
not
shooting. I don't think there's
and
enough. Like defenses aren't going to respect your shooting. If you put Ron in instead of Ivy, like I'm not sure we can rely on a Ron Ivy wing tandem offensively. Oh no,
I think we could. I actually think we could.
Ron Asar.
Oh,
No,
Ron
Ron
Arcar.
Asar.
Oh, I mean, it would be kind of similar because it would be transitional. It would be based on transition. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And then we'll be dependent on Isaiah Stewart to make threes. We'll be dependent on Ryan Holland to hurry up and get up to a point where he's making threes and he's
No, I'm saying
confident enough.
starting lineup.
Oh no,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not.
No, but I agree
No,
with
I'm.
you. I do believe we'll see those mixes and matches, those pairings, as a substitution. But to actually start or to close, like
Yeah,
those lineups lean. That's the thing, like, and that's some of like the best like secondary ball handlers or like off ball cutters to create shots for others. Like if you actually watch Beasley and even THJ off ball, you can see how it's creating like pockets of space for their teammates, and they never touch the ball, right? But like they'll have like an L cut or a curl, and all of a sudden you'll see like the entire side of like the elbows like wide open, right,
yeah,
on the opposite side. Unfortunately, they happen to also be like the worst defenders. You know what I'm saying? Like there's like
yeah,
it's like some
yeah,
of the lineups will lean very offense heavy or like kind of defense heavy. So
yeah.
we'll
And that's
see.
why I was trying to balance them because I
Yeah.
guess Duran Cade is in that first lineup. Ivy Stewart will have to
But
anchor the second lineup. One lineup has Arsar, one lineup has Holland, and then flank the rest around them. You know what I mean? Tobias
yeah.
in one lineup, Fontecchio in the other, Malik Beasley in one, THJ in the other one. It's almost the same lineup except
Yeah.
Ivy's running like this, and Cade is super paced. You know what I mean? Paced and controlled.
Um again, you blew out the preseason Bucks.
Yeah.
So you're
No
right.
Giannis. No
This
Giannis.
should be well, that's true.
No
It should be,
Giannis.
but again, like I don't even care like
Or
who the
this would have
opponent
went
is.
tragically. Trust me.
Yeah, I mean, no, it's just, I mean, of course, obviously, yes. Come regular season, you're going to be playing against the real starters, the real stars of
Yeah.
the league. It's just for preseason. Sometimes I have like blinders. Like I'm only looking at the Pistons. Like last night, I'm only looking at the Warriors because I want to see what you guys are doing. What are you doing for yourselves? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So there's definitely a lot of good, but how do you feel about Duren's? Well, his performance tonight and his, for lack of a better word,
Um,
progress or where he's at.
it's
Like, are
hard to
you
gauge. It's hard to gauge for me because he's really with all the players that we've had, probably outside of Stewart. Um, it's hard to gauge because, like, even during like he had Cade, or no, he had what? He had Ivy come in with him, Cade go down. Him and Ivy developed the chemistry that I think they personally have. I don't think Cade has the same chemistry with Duran that Ivy has. I think
Mhm.
Ivy and Duran are a pair, 2-man game. They can figure they can work it around that, and so it's hard for me to say. Like early in the game, yeah, he was playing tragically, but as the game progressed, once Ivy got him a lob, it's like door was open. Then Cade was finding them. Then you know what I mean. Then he just started
Right.
kind of doing his thing, but it's hard to gauge right now because I don't know that even JB Bickerstaff was actually looking for that. You know what I mean? It doesn't feel like it whatsoever. Because honestly, I would, in the preseason especially, I don't know what game I would use, but I would throw him to the Wolves. I would just dump the ball in like he's Shaq or Dwight Howard and say score or pass, score or pass, and let's see what you do because he's strong enough, he can finish, and if he does, if that's basically going to show me how much dog he has in him, and if he doesn't have enough dog, then you
So
know, long story short, not today, maybe not next week or next month, but maybe if he doesn't have it by the end of the season, we got to move him. And I love Duran. I don't want to move him. That's what I see in him. I actually see that in him. But it's like, in order for, it's like how I am covering the WNBA. All of those players are good. Maddie Seagrass can't get off until Satu Sabali and whoever else gets hurt, and she gets minutes, and it's in the onus is on her. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So it's just like the football players. We seen Devin Singletary go down. Tyrone Tracy showed up today. You know what I mean? He went 129 yards. He's on my fantasy team. That's why I'm shout
did
out
you
to
start
Tyrone
him?
Tracy. No, I didn't. I wish I did, but he
No,
didn't
I
get a
didn't know.
touchdown,
I picked him up
so it
too
wasn't.
as a
It,
flyer. A
yeah,
stash. Was it?
yeah.
I
I
wish I did.
drafted him. I drafted him, Jordan Mason, and others. But not to get off off track. I drafted a lot of people that people weren't thinking about. But like in order to get an opportunity, you have to something has to happen sometimes. Like somebody that's in front of you has to get moved out the way. You know what I mean? In order for them to actually see you for who you are. So um I don't know what that's going to be with him because he's the starter already, but maybe it's just the pecking order of the offense and in the way in which it goes, what they might be looking for. And I think JB right now is looking for K to find the shooters and find avenues to the paint. And Duran right now is cleanup. That's what I think.
Yeah,
He's
I
cleanup,
think
he's lobs, he's easy buckets, dunker spot. You know what I mean? That's what he is.
I like the way you phrased it. Right.
Yeah.
You see, you have a vision of what he can be. You believe it.
Right.
Right. But it comes down to it, plain simple. Does he have the dog in him for that to become a reality? I think
Right.
you and I are looking at the same coin. We're just looking at two
Two
different
sides.
sides of it because
Yeah.
I'm actually looking for the same thing, but defensively. I don't want to say I'm concerned, but like I've kind of rolled my eyes at times these last 2 years when people question his defense. Is it all show but no go? You
Right.
know, like he looks the part. We're calling him a rim protector or like because technically rim protector and paint protector are not necessarily synonymous. You know what I'm saying?
No,
Like
they're
you could
not.
be a good paint protector, but you don't log a lot of blocks.
Right.
But I thought like, maybe it's because it's roster construction and stuff like that. But I want to see more. I want him to see, I want to see him take ownership of the paint.
Right.
And again, when and not to bash Fontecchio, we knew that starting lineup was going to leak oil early. You know what I'm saying? Like defensively, it was
Yeah.
there are a lot of holes in that starting ship.
It was all holes in it.
Right, but you still have to bring a certain amount of physicality. You
Right.
cannot just be so reactive. You have to be proactive. Bring the force. You know what I'm saying? You're supposed to be discouraging offensive players from driving the lane.
Right.
I'm not seeing that, because there's a lot of people like to tell me, like, when people say, "Oh no, Conrad, I think you're a little too high on Jalen Duren," right? Like, he really doesn't get his block rate. It's not even just the number of blocks, but his block rate is low.
Yeah.
And I've kind of tried to find reasons as to why that's not wholly accurate, or
Right.
representative. But at a certain point, again, I don't need him to be averaging whatever Wembanyama's doing, whatever 4 blocks a game, 5 blocks a game. No. But I do need to see him, like I said, right, be the true presence down low. And based on what you said, I think we want to see it on both ways, because I'm great, right? I like cool. You just showed me you had that fast twitch to get the offensive rebound. So why don't you do that more often?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I'm with you. I think he has the talent to be one of the best centers in the league.
Right.
They don't just invite anyone to the USA select team.
Right.
But I want to see this become something regular.
Game in, game out, right? Yeah. So the question now is, does he have the engine? You know what I mean? Does he have the motor? Is he a Honda Civic or is he a Porsche Panamera? They sound totally different.
Honda Civic is the reliable option.
Yeah, it is.
No maintenance.
It is. I love Porsche Panameras.
No, I know what you're saying.
And
I get
when
what
you
you're
hit that gas stationary, oh yeah, that sound, yeah. I'm about to kill it.
But, again, it's just a tongue-in-cheek, comparison when we say Baby Dwight.
Right.
But if enough people are saying it, it's because, like you said, right, you have certain abilities that actually merits that comparison. Now you have to, it's on him. To me, it's on him. This, as bad as that lineup was today, right? Now again, I'm not trying to say he doesn't have any dog in him, because right. Beef Stew is the personification of dog.
Man,
but you saw it. That's what I was saying the other day. It doesn't matter that he's giving up a couple inches.
I thought he was about to punch old boy when they was flinging arms. I'm like, Stu, please don't hit him.
Do not throw the chicken wing at Isaiah Stewart.
Don't knock him out, bro. Please don't punch him. Yeah, that's why I don't want to trade Stu. But I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Keep going, bro.
No. But again, it was only a couple minutes of it, but you see that. They actually ran real 5-out sets.
Yeah.
You couldn't do that. You couldn't do that in the last 2 years, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. I think Beef Stew, I think he's going to enjoy being the designated stretch 5. Frankly, I think he should have been doing this his entire career, but hey, better late than never.
I say the same thing. I've said the same thing. Because I've seen, and I said this in the last episode or one of our Summer League Pistons episodes, that I've seen what he can do. You know what I mean? And it wasn't in the Pistons uniform or whatnot. And for anybody watching, you're what episodes? Go follow our other channel, East Meets West, a basketball state of being. This is the second channel actually, but make sure y'all sub and like. But on those Summer League podcasts, I don't know if I believe I did mention that. Well, it might have been before that. But I've been saying that Stu is a 3 to me. You know what I mean? I've went that far. I have. I've went today, I know he only got 2. He only got 2 boards today. You know what I mean? That's not a 5. I mean, it's probably a stretch 5. But I mean, if I'm thinking stretch 5, I'm thinking, oh, Embiid can stretch. Oh, Jokic can stretch. Embiid's got 7 or 8 rebounds. Jokic just got 12 or 13 rebounds. Stu's got 2. You know what I mean? So it's just Why not put him in front of somebody that he can throw off balance on a drive downhill, and maybe Duren's behind him. You know what I mean? And then
Right.
suddenly Duren has a better opportunity to actually be a better rim protector. Because I get what you mean by paint protector, rim protector. Stewart
Yeah.
to me is more of a is probably more of the rim protect. I mean, well, it's hard to determine.
Like for example,
I
Marc
would say he's
Gasol
more of a
was a
paint
paint
protector.
protector,
And
right?
okay,
But he didn't really get that many blocks.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Now Hashim Thabit, now he's a rim protector. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I mean, Hashim to beat. Oh my
you know what I'm saying?
god.
No, but I'm just saying, right? Like, there's a difference. There is a difference. Fine. I'm sorry. Okay, fine. You want a better one?
No,
Fine.
no, no, no,
Olajuwon.
no.
Olajuwon.
No, I
Olajuwon.
get
There. Does
you.
that make you feel
I
better?
just remember
Matumbo.
Hashim to be for only being defensive. Like he was
Well, yeah, I'm
he
talking
was the
strictly
Roy
defense.
Hibbert
I'm
of
talking strictly
defense.
defense.
Okay. Well, okay. I get that analogy. A Hashim Tabit reference. I was gonna make one last episode actually. That's funny. um but no, I mean I get what you mean by rim protector, paint protector. And I think that they can actually work together. But
Yeah.
I mean, because Stu can shoot. Hell, I think Duran can shoot. I seen what he was doing in Memphis. He was facing up.
Well,
It's just a matter of translating that to the league. So hopefully Fred Vincent is like, hey, we got to figure this out and get you face up sometimes where you just, boom, face up and just go on and pull. They're not gonna expect it from you, especially if Stu's out here somewhere with you. It's another
yeah.
shooter or two out there with you. Like you can kind of get away with that. And then if you got Ivy or Holland out there with you slashing to cut to the rim, hey, I think it's something that can actually be effective going forward. And then, or you can reset. You know what I mean? If Cade's out there, or Sass or Ivy, you can reset. And I think, man, I think this team has a long ways to go. But I think what we've seen today is actually pretty good, considering we have a
Oh
new
yeah.
coach, we got a new GM, we have, and we didn't get Tobias Harris. I wanted to see Bobby Clinton so bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We didn't see him, and a lot of our other players that we have, but we look like we have depth, like hell. Like it's not the best depth. We're like I won't say a Rasheed Wallace level type trade away, but we're a Rasheed Wallace type trade away from starting to develop into to develop an identity. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And maybe one more perimeter defender. And I don't know who that's going to be, but we need another. We need. I don't even know who. Shit, Marcus Smart, something like that. You know what I mean? Like maybe better than that. But we need another perimeter defender because I don't want to see us just after a couple of passes like, oh, it's on the three. Oh, just look at him. Oh, okay. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to see
Yeah.
that. That shit was pissing
Yeah.
me off. Wendell Moore Jr., your guy, he was out
Oh
there
yeah.
running
I was gonna
down
say
more
before we
threes than
close,
anybody else.
we should definitely kind of
Yeah,
highlight some of
yeah. Go
the
ahead,
lesser usage.
show your scouting chops, and go ahead down
Oh
the list
no.
of
I mean,
just of the observations
to
of
be
any other
fair,
players.
if it seems like we haven't put enough, discussion into like the vets, it's
Hmm.
only because, in my opinion, they're as advertised.
Yeah,
Like I said, even
yeah,
though
they are.
THJ, he didn't make a single three, but like I said, I like the manner in which they were creating threes for him. I
Yeah,
like what he was doing. Again, even though he's not really known as like, hey, I'm a shot creator, but like I said, shot creation comes in different forms,
yeah.
and his off ball movement is pulling guys, like I said, out of the paint, out of the key, and boom, right?
Hmm.
Like in this case, Malik Beasley, like he capitalized off that quite a few times, right? Cade curled on one, boom, free throw line jumper for Beasley.
Right,
THJ did the other one again. It's like top of the key jumper for Beasley. So
right.
Beasley, same thing as advertised. He knocked down his shots, made 3 threes, right? So
Hmm.
it was a nice night. But I guess the guys on the back end of the roster, I'm not sure if they are going to be part of the rotation, but in terms of just kind of looking at what they showed and moving forward, maybe they can put together some good stuff. So maybe down the line, they could get some consideration. What'd you think about Marcus Sasser?
I liked Sasser's game today. It was like leaps and bounds from the summer league. He was much more controlled. It's as if he was playing to not play himself out of either the rotation or
Yeah.
being moved. You know what I mean? Like he was playing really efficient. Hell, I actually wanted to notate that I just know that this lineup in particular had crazy plus minus. Like, what is this here?
Mm-hmm. I'm
Like
looking at it. Yeah.
Paul Reed was a plus 23, although he only had 4 points, 5 rebounds. He had 4 steals, 2 assists. I mean, 2 blocks. +2 from Tosan. We had Ron Holland with a plus 25. We had Stewart plus 25, Beasley plus 20, Sasser plus 25, Wendell Moore plus 25, Dennis Jenkins plus 17 in 7 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, come on, man. Like I mean, I know we were
I
playing
like
the
Dennis, man.
Milwaukee bunch, the Milwaukee bunch, the Milwaukee Bucks bench. That might have
Nice.
turned into a bad word with the letter switching, but
My God.
tongue twister. But yeah, I think that I think we are still a move away. And but in the meantime, or we are a few ascending players away, like Cade, next step, Ivy, 2 steps, Asar, better shooting, and then next step. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
During wake up, we're there. Suddenly it's like we're like the Chicago Bulls when they got Derrick Rose, Jakim Noah, Luol Deng. You know what I mean? Well, shout out to Tyus Thomas. Ain't that wasn't that his name? Tyus Thomas, right? Uh
Tyrese Thomas. Yeah.
Tyrus Thomas. I remember that team so much. We're like a OKC away. We're like a hell OKC twice at this point. Durant, Russell Westbrook, Harden, and now SGA, Chet Holmgren, and everything that because they've got
Yeah.
so many pieces that have been over there already, like the Lou Dorts and whatnot of the world. So we have the pieces in place. It's just like pretty much Trajan Langdon said. It's about development at this point.
Yeah.
If we develop, we don't have to outsource. You know
I
what I
mean,
mean? We
it's
don't
like
have
what
to
he said.
outsource for a star.
What he said during media day. Remember, like just kind of take a census of the team every
Yeah,
5 to 10 games.
yeah,
Right, and figure
yeah.
out like who we
What's
want to move
working?
forward. Like, or we
Hmm.
want to move forward with you, but maybe want to give more minutes to some other guy.
Yeah.
But
So
Sasser, actually, again, not to just like not to give him like pity coverage.
right.
Like he was like, you know,
Mhm.
it's like he was a leper during summer league. He was like the village idiot, right?
Yeah,
Like he, right?
man.
He was like the punching bag for Pistons fans. All I'm saying is, right? Our last episode, media day episode, we just kind of said, hey, right? If we're thinking optimistically, he won't be playing with a bunch of undrafted dudes he's never played with before, right? He's going to be playing with actual NBA players,
Mhm.
and have an actual training camp with him. He might look
Mhm.
better. He looked a lot better today.
Yeah.
The only negative thing I could really say was he didn't make his threes. He was 0 for 3 from 3. But I mean, like, if I had to like just really simplify it, like he's like stylistically like the perfect backup to Ivy. Like they create the same kind of looks. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Both for
Yeah.
themselves and their teammates. You
Yeah.
can make an argument maybe Sasser's a little bit better. Like he's a little
He
bit more
turned it into
proactive.
9 assists. Yeah.
He did. That's what I'm saying,
Or
right?
yeah. Hmm.
That's what I'm saying. He's a little bit more proactive, in terms of setting guys up. Like he doesn't wait till the very last second. Like he kind of sees some passing lanes develop.
Yeah.
But I liked it. And actually, since you did bring him up, again, I have nothing against Wendell Moore. I'm just saying at a certain point.
Oh no.
Yeah, no, like I'm happy for him. He plays his ass off.
I'm wondering. I mean, okay, he playing hard, but if he got a contract, no, I mean
He
because
is under contract. He's under contract.
so he's here.
Yeah, no, they traded for him from Minnesota. He was a first round pick.
But I'm sure we could waive him before the season starts, and he's not a cap hit.
No, that's the thing. That's what we were saying last episode. Like, I think he's still, even though he's under contract and he has guaranteed money, it's not an amount that is like prohibitive from them waiving him. So to a certain extent, he does need to kind of play to justify staying on this roster because he's not a two-way guy. He's on the 15-man roster. And that's what I'm saying, right?
Okay.
Like you said, right? You're what, another defender, another point guard away from being a little bit more well-rounded,
Yeah.
or more balanced.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like
Another defender.
you could probably use his in general, right? You could probably find a better player than him in
Yeah.
theory,
Yeah.
but he is young. He
Mhm.
was a first round pick for a reason. There is some pedigree there. I'm just saying, like, hey, right? Like,
I
I'm
mean,
not against him.
no, it's not that you're against him, but I just know that he hasn't really made an impact anywhere. So I don't know if, I mean, have we become the dumping grounds in a sense too? Like, are we just going to resurrect a couple players too, and then they go bounce somewhere else, and then they go back to being
That's not a bad idea.
the need to be resurrected? It's not a bad idea for us as far as assets are concerned, but are well, never mind. Is you're right because I'm about to say, are we wasting minutes? You know what I mean? In that
No,
case,
so
are
that's
we
the thing.
wasting
That's the
minutes
thing. He's not
when
going
we're
to get
focused on development? Yeah,
unless he has like an otherworldly preseason, like the remaining preseason, like he is like going off every game. Like I don't see him cracking this rotation, which is why I brought it up the last episode. It's like, okay, you're not going to get really regular minutes with the team. You're probably going to be playing with the G League team, with the Crews. So anybody could do that, right? So he has to prove that he should be that guy. You know what I'm
right.
saying?
Yeah,
So
and I think
because
it's a
like,
lot of that going on.
yeah, I mean every team is dealing with it. I'm just saying specifically because again, like he is a former first round pick and he was a highly touted pick. You know what I'm saying? It has not worked out for him, but I'm happy for him. He had a good night. Um, and then other than that, um, yeah, again, only 8 minutes in quiet. Um,
Dennis,
Dennis, only 2 points.
my
Only two
guy.
points.
Yeah,
Everybody said it. All the draft nerds, and I'll include myself in that, right?
hmm
Like all the draft analysts would say that, like, because he was like a fifth year senior, I believe,
hmm
right? Like of all the fifth year guys, like the super seniors, he was definitely like the most polished and like the highest IQ guy. His age and probably his size because he's not a big guard, but he's fine. Like he's a fine size for as
yeah.
a guard, a point guard.
I mean, it looks
He's like
like a
six,
three to
what,
me.
6'2", 6'3"? What's up?
Oh, he's six. What?
Like, what,
Wendell
6 foot?
Moore?
No, I'm talking about Dennis.
Oh, oh,
No,
oh.
yeah, Wendell Moore's like 6'6",
What?
man.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, all I'm saying is
I'm talking
like
about Dennis Jenkins.
yeah, I think age basically was the reason why he wasn't really, why he wasn't drafted. But, as a two-way guy with upside, but with a lot of experience, it kind of shows, you know. I know you're high, and that's what I'm saying. I think,
Yeah,
again, limited minutes, and it was
man.
very limited minutes, but still, I think he showed some good stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love Dennis Jenkins. I keep him around. I do.
Yeah. And the last guy, I mean, it's only preseason, but sometimes even the preseason rotations kind of tell you something, right? It tells you at least what the coaches right now, how they see the depth chart at each position. So
Right.
clearly, Duren and Isaiah Stewart clear Paul Reed by a lot. It's not a bad thing. You could do
Right.
way worse than having Paul Reed as your third string center. My question, though, is I want to see, like, is he really going to get minutes? You know what I'm
I
saying?
think so. I think so.
Yeah, I think so too. But like,
Because I think you can pair him with Stewart or Duran. You can put Tobias at the 3 in some rotations that's staggered. Put Paul Reed at the 4, and put Duran or Stewart at the 5, or put Reed with Stewart at the 5, and him out there with Asar or something like that. We don't have to get real technical about it since we're about to close as far as like, oh, well, this is defense and this is offense and who's gonna like is he can fit in with certain rotations. He can provide energy, he can provide height, he can provide size, and just his experience. You know what I mean? Like his
Yeah.
experience will rule over all things. Because tonight, like I'm looking at him, the couple shots he did make, it just looked casual as hell. You know what I mean? It was like, yeah,
Yeah,
I know what I'm
again,
doing. Excuse me, get out of my way. All right, yeah, here you
it was very mop up
go.
duty. He played mop up
Yeah,
duty,
yeah.
right? It's like,
It
in
wasn't like he
baseball,
had to
you're
try
up
hard.
14
He
to
wasn't
1.
trying
You're just the
hard.
pitcher that goes out there, don't throw anything wild,
Yeah.
and close out the game. The only thing is I know you talk about like the combinations and the ability of like even like Duran and blah 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 to shoot. What I
you just
like
hit
the most.
you just hit the Stewie W on that wild.
Yeah.
Wild.
No, all I'm saying is
Shout out to Family Guy.
Paul Reed. Yeah, Paul Reed. I like his motor. I like his energy.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna make too much out of it, but instead of like 2 3-pointers, and I know whatever, it's preseason, you're just working, see if
Right.
you can get comfortable with your shot.
Mm.
Again, I'd like to think come regular season, if you're getting regular season minutes, attack the rim hard.
Yeah.
That's what they're gonna need him for, and especially make use of your speed. You know,
Yeah.
like yeah. So I mean, that's all. But overall, yeah, I find it to be more optimistic. I want to see like okay, so as we're now closing, what do you want to see in the next game? Just real quick. Doesn't have to
What
be.
do I want to see in the next game? I want to see Holland have better control earlier and be able to finish on or with the ball. You know what I mean? Without
Right.
needing to get it. Like I want to be able to see him finish those because I felt like he could have finished those. He went up and he like on one he did like an extra pump that he didn't even need to. You know what I mean?
He does a lot,
Like
yeah.
yeah, like just go. You know what I mean? Because you're already athletically gone. But then when he started going, what was he doing? Easy dunk, easy bucket, like quick buckets. You could do the Carmelo dunk. You ain't got to show out on every dunk. We gonna see you flex. You got years in this league coming forward. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
go on and just get it up there. I also want to continue to see Ivy continue to grow. I want to see Cade. Cade always ends up fitting in. Like I've seen this preseason from him last year, where it was like kind of slow, and then it was like, all right, we in the regular season. So I know Cade's gonna come along. I'm not worried about him. I'm more worried about the rest of the team. I want to see THJ actually hit shots because he looked nervous to me today. I don't know fucking why, but he looked nervous. um, I want to see more from Duran, like we discussed.
Yeah.
I see him like a Dwight or just like somebody that you can throw the ball into in the paint,
Yes.
and he can, excuse me, and get his own shot. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to see him having to go through what he had to go through over the past couple of seasons. Or hell, last season was actually pretty nice, but I want to see more of the good from last season as opposed to anything else. Um, I mean, and that's pretty much it. I mean, more shots from Beasley, of course.
Pretty much it. You listed like 10
Converted
things.
threes. I mean, because I want to see, based on what the Pistons have been over the last few years,
Yeah.
I need to see progress. You know what I'm saying? And
Oh
today
yeah,
was
no.
beautiful. Today was
Definitely.
beautiful to me. The energy was higher. I want us to keep that energy, but this time don't go 2-0 and then lose it. You know what I mean? Like keep coming with that energy. Make sure that they don't end up like don't do nothing that Mr. Dub, I'll say, because I don't want to disrespect him. He had what he had going on with his wife as well, and I didn't think he was fully into it anyway. So I appreciate him for coming, but I appreciate right now. And
Right.
right now, we have energy players. I want us to continue to come forward with that energy. I want us to continue to play with confidence. I don't want us to like get shook in any kind of way. Nobody, not Ivy, not Holland, nobody. Like come forward with your best. I don't want Duran to be like, oh, I'm breaking this or that, and then all of a sudden you start disappearing on the defensive end. Don't do that. Or you need to go sit down. You know what I mean? So
Right.
I just want to see them continue on what we seen today. And then we dropped 120. I want to see more of that. I want to see another game over 100, at least
Yeah.
109. You know what I mean? To let me know that we have the capability of scoring with the scores of the league. Because this game is like average, what now? It's over 100.
Right.
So
Right.
can we drop 100 a game? Can we do that?
Oh,
Because
you
if
have
not,
to. In the
yeah,
modern
you
NBA,
you
you
have
can't
to.
score 100 points, you're
I would
screwed,
damn near
dude.
say 110. So I
Yeah.
want to see more 100-point games. Hell, throughout the rest of the preseason, I want to see at least, at the very least, 98. I'll give them 97, whatever. But I want to see 102, 105. No, I do. Seriously,
Yeah.
like I do, because our teams have disappeared offensively. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like they just go on super droughts, and it's like, well, what the hell is going on? So this team looked really good, top to bottom, and I want to see that
Yes.
again, top to bottom. I want to see top to bottom again. Like we mentioned, the plus minus at the bench. I want to see Ivy plus minus higher. I want to see Ivy become more of, like what you said, become more of a point guard, as far as being able to have a vision on the floor as well, to not only see what you can get for yourself, but what you can get for your teammates, that might ultimately result in you actually having something else for yourself. So yeah,
Nice.
I love that. And
Nice.
I had something else, but I forgot what it was before you introduced
Nice.
the question. But that's my closing.
Okay. I'm really easy. I'll just end real quickly.
Yeah,
Um, this is, well, ideally, first of all, ideally Tobias plays,
yeah,
and especially if Tobias plays, I want to see a lot more defensive cohesion, a lot more defensive integrity. I understand we ended up, when all said and done, we blew him out. I get it, right? But like, let's be real, right? You just said yourself, no Giannis, right?
yeah. No damn sense,
Um,
really.
you can't let teams go on a 20-0 run,
No,
right, and expect to
20
win.
to
Like
damn three.
any team. That's not a
No,
formula for success, right?
no.
Now, and it's not going to be like that every game. I understand that too, but
Yeah,
right, I want to actually see our guys make plays on defense.
mm,
Not make every play, right? But I want to see more good habits
right.
on defense. Like you said, right? It seemed like in that first quarter, which was the starters, right?
Yeah,
Nobody guarded the 3-point line.
yeah.
You know what I'm
I
saying?
want to see. I
Things like
want to
that.
see that too.
So
I
that's what
want
I'm
to see
saying.
that.
Yeah, I want to see, because late in the game when they started blowing out
Guard
the
the damn
Bucks,
three
but
point
we were
line.
like, the Bucks were already putting in like their third, fourth stringers,
Yeah,
like basically like their exhibit 10s,
yeah.
right? Tim Legler made like a comment like, "Oh, it's almost reminiscent of the championship Pistons." Like, I get it, right? You know what I'm saying? Again, right? He's just, I don't expect that level of defensive, like efficiency. But what did we say all throughout the summer? In all likelihood, if they're going to be winning as many games as we think they can win, 30 plus, right? 35
Mm,
plus, 34 plus, all right?
mm, mm.
They need to be like a somewhat, okay, a league average at the very least, like league average defense, if not
Right.
above, right? Like that, they have to be able to rely on their defensive principles. So that's kind of what I want to see them work on moving forward, you know. So
Mhm.
yeah, let's see, But for game one, I like it. Nobody got hurt, other than the guys that were hurt. Right?
Glad
So,
Ivy got up.
why, right?
Yeah.
Best of luck, good health to Gary Trent Jr. But
Yes.
you never want to
Yes.
see anyone get hurt in a preseason game. Well, in any game, but
And yeah,
and
definitely not. No.
basically like,
Yeah.
yeah. So hopefully, yeah, this good luck or this good health continues. So yeah,
Yes,
we
sir.
can actually play. So
Right.
all right,
All right, y'all. With that said, y'all see the names at the bottom. Follow us. Yes. Follow Khan at CP3 underscore 777. Follow
that's
your
right.
boy. Don't even worry about me on opinionated MJ. Follow the Pistons lead account. I run that account. Um, but I'm on the other one as well. Whatever. Make sure y'all follow this channel that you're watching right now, which is East Meets West Basketball Lives. Our other channel is in purgatory right now, but it's East Meets West, a basketball state of being. So you can type that in on YouTube if you not afraid of click a little bit more than three buttons. You know what I mean? And yeah, we gonna try to come after pretty much most of the Piston games, as many as we can. And y'all tap in with us, man. Like y'all, if y'all hit the comments, like probably people would be if we was on our other account. If we got a group of Piston fans on the other account, we'll tap in with y'all questions and whatnot, highlight y'all, do that type of thing. But hey, thank y'all for joining us tonight. We appreciate y'all.
Take care.
Take care.